answers, I change the questions. It's me, Austin!
Who are you to doubt El Dandy? Because this guy's a serious professional.
Brett screwed Brett.
Yeah! Can he do it? Holler! Oh, and a kick out! Unbelievable!
Too hot to handle and too cold to hold. And I am the Macho King Savage.
Woo! Shut your mouth, you thong-wearing fatty!
Promotional consideration paid for by the following.
Hey, yo, Pro Wrestling Podcast listeners, welcome to the show where we don't sing it, we bring it. Help us out and click subscribe to show your support. If you are a YouTube user, click the bell so they notify you every time a new episode goes live. And ladies and gentlemen, we got to talk. Are you sick and tired of dropping $60 to $100 for the latest and greatest wrestling video game? Stop immediately. Go to Wrestler Unstoppable, available exclusively through Facebook. Create a wrestler, sign contracts, get into storylines, headline pay-per-views, even build your own corporation, all included in Wrestler Unstoppable, available now to all Facebook users, totally free. If you want to become a member of the Pro Wrestling Podcast family, you want your name in the shoutouts like my good buddy John down in Texas, then check out our Patreon page at patreon.com/ProWrestlingPodcast. Sign up today and you will have the opportunity to get loyalty rewards. $15 a month contributors, you get to co-host a live episode with me. $7.50 a month contributors, you get entered into a drawing to do the exact same thing. Hello, everybody, and welcome to this episode of the Pro Wrestling Podcast. If you have questions, comments, something you'd like us to talk about in a future episode, feel free to drop us a line at the Pro Wrestling Sound Off line 267-642-1160, and we will get to those comments, questions, or concerns in a future episode. Tonight, we start a three-part episode release. We have not done this before, where we are going to be covering a specific topic related to professional wrestling. You always turn on YouTube and you see these top 10 lists and top 20 lists and all that kind of stuff. And we don't really do those all that often. As a matter of fact, I think the last time we did it was in, 2017, 2018, something like that. And I had some requests through that Pro Wrestling Sound Off line for why don't we do more of these things? Why don't we review television shows more frequently or things like that, historic episodes and things like that? So we're going to give this a run. We're going to try this out. We have 3 episodes planned and see how you guys like this. Do me a favor. Give me some feedback below in the comments on whatever social media platform you're getting this episode through so that I can get a better understanding of whether you do or do not appreciate these types of episodes. Before I go any further, gotta throw the selfless plug out there. This Saturday night, May 11th, 2024, I will be making my return to the professional wrestling ring in Norristown at Norristown Area School District's Eisenhower Middle School. It is a fundraiser with 3WA, the Worldwide Wrestling Alliance, and in that show, I will be in action against Nathaniel Cunningham, one half of their World Tag Team Champions, and there are many other surprises planned for that evening, so if you are in the Norristown area, by all means, try to stop by, support the school, and come see some independent wrestling, and come see Dr. Fro get thrown around the ring a little bit. Moving into the actual top 10 list, tonight the topic that we are going to be looking at is the 10 challengers for Damian Priest's World Heavyweight Championship. And when you think about this, I wanted to be objective about this. I wanted to come up with not just a list of names, but why I believe that they would be compelling storyline-wise and why somebody should be tuned into a program with these guys. Let's be honest. Since Damian Priest won the championship at WrestleMania, I have no problem with the way he cashed in his Money in the Bank, taking the big stage moment. I loved all of that. But since then, we have seen essentially nothing that builds him as a credible world heavyweight champion. So the conversation starts to shift a little bit. It starts to become, well, if Damian Priest isn't going to be the over-the-top credible world heavyweight champion, who is the next guy we could put out there to take that place and run with the championship? So I'm going to go backwards, starting with 10, down to 1, and give me some feedback in the comments about what you think about this list. We're going to start at number 10 with a very unorthodox pick. The fractures and the concerns within the Judgment Day faction are very obvious. And I think some people think things are going to go a certain way, especially at SummerSlam this year, and I'm not surprised to see that. And I'm not going to say I don't necessarily agree with some of those rumors, but I'm going to propose at number 10 something very different. I'm going to propose that if you look historically at WWE, they always love these incredible stories that are long-term booking planning type of ideas, or things that make it so you are required or forced to look backwards at history and then look at what the historical relevance of a new decision is. You don't have to look any further than Cody Rhodes finishing his story to see that, or looking at the Samoan bloodline, the dynasty, whatever you want to look at it as. That is as long-term storytelling as it gets. So when you think about that, my selection for number 10 as a challenger for the World Heavyweight Championship is Dominic Mysterio. Yes, he's a part of Judgment Day. No, in any other way, shape, or form do I ever think that he would be a credible opponent for the World Heavyweight Championship. But hear me out. I believe that, one, with a father like Rey Mysterio Jr., who won the World Championship on more than one occasion, it would make for an incredible storyline for him to be pursuing the same goals that his father pursued. Now, because Damian Priest has not been booked as a strong champion, and because there is so much fracturing in the Judgment Day faction, it would not be hard to get across a turn where the entire faction turned on Damian Priest. That being said, because they have teased Priest being more babyface-ish in the past, I believe that with the level of nuclear heat that Dominic has been able to garner throughout the last 2 years, I believe firmly that Damian Priest could easily lose the championship. And I actually said that, lose the championship to Dominic Mysterio. I am not looking for Dominic to go on a 4-year run with the title, but I could easily see where Dominic could take the leadership role of the group, trying to prove that it wasn't all mommy running his decision-making process, that he didn't have to listen to Damian Priest. I could see them running that storyline, him finding a way with the help of Judgment Day to win the championship, and then eventually lose that championship to somebody else. I would imagine 2, 3, maybe 4-month reign, nothing too elaborate, doing one of those things where he, almost like Christian Cage in AEW with the TNT championship, finding ways to win just to retain the championship and keep that nuclear heat, and then eventually putting somebody else over to transition to championship again. So number 10, Dominic Mysterio. Number 9, a little more unorthodox, especially since we don't even know what's going on yet, but Uncle Howdy. Bo Dallas coming back as Uncle Howie with the Wyatt Six faction that they're rumored to be having come out very shortly. I think having him come back in a premium program with the Wyatt Six versus the Judgment Day, culminating with Uncle Howdy winning the World Heavyweight Championship, would be an incredible moment, especially if it was done in a way that could honor the memory and legacy of Bray Wyatt, who, let's be honest, should never have lost his Universal Championship to Goldberg, should never have really lost to Roman Reigns, even though I'm glad it happened in hindsight, because Roman Reigns went on one of the most historic runs in history. In that moment, I would have liked for Bray to have had a bigger opportunity with the championship. So giving Uncle Howdy, a.k.a. Bo Dallas, a better opportunity to have a championship run would be a feel-good moment and a unique booking decision, to say the least. Coming in at number 8, another one that I don't think people have on the radar, but I think could easily be done, again, would be predicated on a Damian Priest face turn, which I think will happen relatively soon, to be honest with you. And this could not happen right now. This would be a little further down the line. But Chad Gable, in the likeness of Kurt Angle as a legit wrestler, somebody you can build, and they started building with the Gunther feud before, Sami Zayn now. If you build Chad Gable correctly, I could see him pulling off an upset, a win to take that World Heavyweight Championship. And if not, at least putting on a credible showing that makes it so he looked like a legitimate challenger for the championship, no less than Jey Uso recently. And I'll put this out there. You will notice tonight in this list that Jey Uso's name does not come up. That's because he just had a shot in France, and I just feel like right now his creative direction needs to go another way. So Chad Gable coming in at number 8. Number 7, a returning superstar, Braun Strowman, another guy who, I'm sorry, I understand Vince McMahon isn't in power anymore, but historically WWE has always embraced those monstrously huge individuals and given them a prime position to lead the company as champion. Braun Strowman, in my opinion, has had little glimpses of what he can do as the main guy, but I feel like in the past, Vince wanted to book him more as a special attraction and didn't want to keep a championship on him, but Braun is legit. He can go with anybody, a cruiserweight like Ricochet, all the way to a super heavyweight like, a Bronson Reed or somebody like that. So I think Braun Strowman as the champion, or at least as a credible challenger to Damian Priest, is a program that I could buy into. So Braun Strowman clearly at number 7, a fantastic choice. Number 6, one that a lot of people think is too soon, Braun Breaker. Braun Breaker is, you strap a rocket ship to him and just let him fly. He is not all that different right now than a young, debuting Brock Lesnar. And let's be honest, Brock Lesnar debuted in the spring and by the end of the summer was undisputed World Heavyweight Championship, defeating The Rock. Why not? It makes total sense. Braun Breaker could potentially be the future of the company. There is no reason that we have to wait for this. If he wasn't ready for it, you wouldn't have brought him to the main roster. He is over. The fans love him. I've never seen anybody hit the ropes like that kid, hit some of the most explosive moves like that kid. He absolutely would be a legitimate contender. Coming in at number 5, and this one is a little different for me. I believe if you were to find a way to transition AJ Styles to Raw after coming out of his program with Cody, clearly not going to take a championship from Cody, but if you found a way to put AJ back together with the OC, and then in a twist of fate, so to speak, I would say this would have to happen after SummerSlam, and we'll get to why in a little bit. But I believe that there is going to be some serious fractures in the Judgment Day, and that we are going to see a need for somebody else to add an element to that feud. And what I am seeing is if for some reason Finn Balor were to be courted by AJ Styles to join the OC and make almost like a Bullet Club reunion in WWE to go against the Judgment Day, I think that could work. That's if you're going to keep Priest and Dom and McDonough and potentially somebody else added to the group, whether that's an Andrade or somebody of that nature. I think you could put together a great faction warfare situation, maybe in time for Survivor Series, and AJ Styles could emerge as a legitimate challenger for the World Heavyweight Championship. And after the banger that he put on with Cody Rhodes at Backlash, why not? I think AJ would be a fantastic opportunity. Next one coming in at number 4, and I understand, again, different brand. This would be post Royal Rumble, and that's if you want to give the Rumble win to this individual, and that would be LA Knight. I think some point this year, LA Knight walks around with a individual individual championship, United States or Intercontinental Championship. If you go with the brand he's on right now, that would be the United States Championship. But I think by the time we get to the Royal Rumble, he was so hot. And then they put him against Roman too fast, and he hasn't lost his connection with the crowd. Usually that stifles your progress. He is still over as it gets with the crowd. So you could easily have him have a short run or even a relatively extended run with the United States Championship and then win the Royal Rumble and challenge Damian Priest for the World Heavyweight Championship at WrestleMania. And I would be all in favor of doing that. Number 3 is one that you could probably deduce from things I've said earlier, and is the one that I think is the most probable to happen right away, and that would be Finn Balor. Finn Balor challenging Damian Priest after a breakdown of communication that they've been having, the apology on Raw, and all those types of situations. I think at this point, it makes all the sense in the world for the demon Finn Balor to return to challenge for and potentially win the World Heavyweight Championship from Damian Priest. I think Finn Balor, even though he's been booked to be relatively weak over the last few years, is more of a credible World Heavyweight Champion than Damian Priest is right now. I just think he has a better connection with the crowd, especially as the demon character, and that's something I think could easily be done. Number 2 on the list, not a surprise. Top, and in a lot of situations, I put this at number 1. I'm putting it at 2 for a reason. I'm putting it at 2 because it has to be further down the pike. Gunther. Gunther, I think, right now is on pace and is on track to become the king of the ring. And whenever that happens, yes, people talk about how the king of the ring is a stepping stone to superstardom and world championships, and I agree with that. So is the Intercontinental Championship. However, once you win a king of the ring, you need a certain period of time to be the king of the ring prior to challenging for the World Heavyweight Championship. And I think that's exactly what's going to happen with Damian Priest and potentially having a match with Gunther, is it would have to be further down the line after a Priest face turn. I can't see them turning Gunther face. It's certainly no time in the near future, but I could definitely see him being probably the most legitimate challenger to Damian Priest on the Raw brand right now. And number one on my list, and the reason they're number one, and you'll notice there's some other people that they're absent from this list, and there's a reason for that. Number one on my list is Drew McIntyre. Now, you may notice that there is no CM Punk on my list despite the fact that he was drafted to Raw. That's because I cannot see a scenario where CM Punk is put into a feud with Damian Priest after everything that's been done with Drew McIntyre. My honest opinion is not only will this happen, either Damian Priest and Balor will explode well before SummerSlam and that feud will be over and Drew McIntyre will win the championship at SummerSlam. Or Drew McIntyre will win this at Clash at the Castle and the Balor and Priest match at SummerSlam will not be for the World Heavyweight Championship. Either way, I firmly believe that by the end of the summer, Drew McIntyre is the World Heavyweight Championship preparing for a feud with CM Punk. Now, I know there's people who want the CM Punk match to take place at WrestleMania next year. We cannot wait that long. We can't. CM Punk needs to be in one of the two main event matches at WrestleMania next year, probably walking in as champion, and I think this is a great way to set that up. With Drew being the champion and CM Punk winning it probably at the Royal Rumble or somewhere in that time frame. But we'll have to wait and see how that plays out. But in the meantime, number one on my list, Drew McIntyre, because he is easily doing the best work of his entire career, and I think he deserves a substantial run as the champion. What do you think about our list, 1 through 10? Give us your feedback in the comments below. Let us know how you feel. Like, listen, if these are types of episodes you enjoy, if that's something you want us to do more frequently, tell me that. I need to know. I want to supply content that makes our listeners enjoy tuning into the program. So please give us a comment below. Call into the Sound Off line, 267-642-1160, and let us know how you feel about episodes just like this. That's all the time we have for this episode. Check back with us next episode. We run down the latest wrestling news and rumors. Special thanks as always goes out to bensound.com and purpleplanet.com for any music or sound effects we use in our show. Today's show is sponsored in part by Beazle Games. Bring a new friend to family game night. It's easy with the game Sketchy People. Showcase your artistic side in this game from Beazle Games by going to thegamecrafter.com and picking up your copy today. If you're looking for your next career move, maybe you're considering college or university life, or maybe you just need some formal training for your next career decision, go to our sister website at frolifeplanning.com for all your higher education needs, as Fro Life Educational Planning is for today, for tomorrow, for life with Fro Life. I'm Fred Froelich, better known as Dr. Fro. I want to thank you for taking a few moments with us tonight, and until next time, take care, everybody. Have a great night.